guys, how's it going? I'm going to be doing a paint job on this guitar, and I figured while I'm at it I might as well make some how-to videos kind of documenting the process from start to finish. I've seen a lot of how to paint your guitar videos out there, but as far as I could tell there wasn't really anything that takes it right from the beginning assembled guitar all the way through to the finished product. Sorry if the camera's chopping off the top of my head there. Not much I can do about that. I'm in kind of a limited space. Anyway, there are lots of different ways to paint a guitar, whether you're doing it with car paints or spray cans, airbrush, whatever it happens to be. This particular one, I'm going to do an airbrush job with all water-based paint, I think. But you can use urethanes, nitrocellulose lacquer is a popular one, kind of an old way of doing it. Or a lot of people don't have access to that kind of stuff, so they do it with spray cans. I'll try and cover as much of the different methods as I can. I've got a couple of different guitar bodies kicking around that I'll do that with. Sorry about that, the heater kicked on and I couldn't get it to shut off. And it's quite loud. Anyway, so I will try and get into the different styles, the different types of paints and such as much as I can. But regardless of what you're doing, whether it's the car paint or the aerosol, whatever it happens to be, the first few steps are pretty much the same. First of all, the focus of this video, we have to take the guitar apart, and if you're worried about adhesion, which you should be in almost every case, we need to sand down the finish. So let's start by taking it apart. What we need for this, typically, you'll obviously need a screwdriver or two. These, I'm just keeping it simple with these. They've got different heads that you can put in them because I don't have that many screwdrivers lying around. You'll need a soldering iron, which I'm kind of keeping off to the side here. And I'll zoom in a bit when I go to actually do this stuff. Nobody wants to look at me anyway. And you should probably have a pair of wire cutters handy just in case. And finally, for taking the strings off, it's not a big deal if you just want to do it by hand, obviously. It's pretty simple. But I've taken apart quite a few guitars, so I got this little gadget. It was only a couple bucks, and it makes things quicker for me. So, let's get started with taking this thing apart. Alright, here we go. Now typically, I would recommend just taking the strings off first because that's usually the easiest. But, this guitar has the strap holder right on the back here, and it's being a pain. It's kind of frustrating me. So, I'm going to start by taking that off. That's just a standard Phillips head, number 2 on this one. For some other guitars, it might be different. Obviously. If you're not used to doing this, and you don't necessarily know how to put the parts back after, make sure you keep them all separated. Maybe label them. I like to put them, well, when I started I like to put them in Ziploc bags. I've taken the other one off the end now. Same deal. Just screws in there. A lot of people like to use these spots as ways of hanging their guitars after. They put little eye hooks in them. You can hang them to paint them. It tends to make life a bit easier. Another way to do it is to just screw a piece of wood in where the neck goes. That's particularly popular when you're doing dip paint jobs. Well, that was weird. The guy who gave this to me to work on clearly had his pickup installed incorrectly. But we'll get to that after. Alright, so now I'm going to take off the strings. Pretty simple. Start by undoing them here, loosening them off. That's where this tool comes in that I was mentioning previously. You can use that to loosen these off. Yes, I know this guitar only has 5 strings on it at the moment. It's not my fault. And they're red for some reason. That's kind of a new one. So for this bridge, the strings just pull out afterward. If you've got a floating tremolo, which I don't have with me at the moment, there will be a little hex head set screw that holds them in place, and you cut the ends off them. The little ball on the end of the string, you cut those off when you go to put them in. So you'll have to undo that hex head to take them out. So that's how you take the strings off. I'm not going to bother showing you me taking the other 4 strings off because that's a gigantic waste of your time. So I'll get that done and I'll see you in a few minutes. Alright, back to it. Now the strings are off. I'm sure everybody's changed their strings before, but in case you haven't, the best way that I've found to dispose of these once you get them off of there is to just roll them up into a ball like this and then twist the ends through a couple times so that they stay that way, and that way they don't spring around in the garbage can. They don't you're not in danger of hitting yourself in the eye with them or anything like that, really. So that'll save you some trouble, and that's how I recommend you do it. Anyway, once you get the bridge off with this style of bridge, same deal with the Tone Pros Tune-O-Matic type of bridges. Once you get the strings off, rather, I don't know if that's what I said or not, this piece just comes out, okay? The piece that they were stuck in, nice and shiny. Anyway, be aware of that. Don't take your strings off somewhere where you can drop this. You might want to, be careful what kind of surface you're working on for that reason. So I'm going to put that away. Next I'm going to take off the dials, just because I feel like it. So there are a few different types of tone and volume dials. For these ones, you can kind of look through, spin them around, take a look at them. These don't have a set screw on them. Some will. If they have a set screw, obviously you need to undo that. That'll just be a tiny little screw in the side that holds it tight onto the actual tuning knob, or whatever dial. So if you have a set screw, undo it. If you're dealing with a Fender style kind of guitar, something with a pick guard where you have the plastic knobs, the best way to do this is to put a shoelace underneath and just pop them off. Okay? Put the shoelace underneath and pull up until it pops off, unless you have a ridiculously strong grip, which I don't hesitate to say that apparently I don't. So for these ones, you don't have to worry about that. You just need to grab and pull. They're just stuck on there with a rubber fitting on the inside. Well, is that rubber? No. Plastic fitting on the inside, rather. So, and there's lots of grip on them, so just yank them right off of there. Now this stuff, the parts for your bridge, they just unscrew. Let's get those out of there. If you're dealing with like a vintage style Fender bridge, one of the ones with the vintage tremolos, or even a Telecaster bridge, it'll just be screws holding the bridge into place. I might do a video showing that at some point, but for the purposes of this one, the Tone Pros kind of Tune-O-Matic style bridges, take your pegs out. Okay. And this one, that just pulls off your actual bridge with your intonation thing there. Just pull that off. That's just held in place by the strings, just like that that back piece was. Be careful that none of these screws get lost. There's no reason why they should, these little ones in here, but make a note of that.